I'm doing a second grade math lesson on telling time. Hello everyone, today we are learning about how to tell time. Our lesson objectives today is I will be able to read a digital and analog clock within 5 minutes. For our bell grid today is what does this clock say? And then I'll give them some time, let them think on it. And then I would ask someone to raise their hand and tell me what they think. And if it said 2:40, I'd be like, yes, that is correct. And I would ask them, how did they know? I said, is it because the hour hand is before here, it says 2, and the minutes are 40. I have 2:40 p.m. And I would let them think about this. I would do a think, pair, share. So they talk to their partner, and then I would go a whole group. So this way I can understand where they're coming from in terms of prior knowledge and how much background knowledge I will need to teach them as their teacher. Then I play this video, Hip Hop Around the Clock by Jack Hartman. It is a fun video that talks about just telling time with the kids, and it gets them excited to tell time. It also shows them some clocks that are just on the hour, which again will activate their prior knowledge, which will also help me keep them engaged with their teaching. Now, telling time. Every day has 24 hours, and every hour is made up of 60 minutes. Telling time for an analog clock, you have the hour hand. That one is the short hand, and that one you count by ones going around the clock. And then you have our minute hand, which is the long hand, and that one you go around the clock as well, but you go by fives, corresponding with the number, and we'll get more into that later in the lesson. So we have two ways of telling time. We have our analog clock that I just talked about with the hour and minute hands. And then we also have our digital clock, which is from our bell ringer. And this one, we have our hour here and our minutes here. So our 8 is the hour, so it's 8 o'clock because it's 0. And the hour is here before the colon, and our minutes are after the colon. And the colon is these two dots right here. And so that is how we read a digital clock. Now we're going to watch a video. It's how many fives are around the clock. This video will show the kids on how many fives. It'll also give them a jingle to remember in their head, so they will know 1 is 5, 2 is 10, 3 is 15, so on and so forth. This will help the kids remember it because it's a fun jingle, and also it'll keep the kids engaged, and it will think it'll come better hearing a fun song than me just telling them. Now, if I was teaching this lesson, I would have this Judy clock, and this Judy clock is very helpful because it's also a visual for the kids, and it will correspond the hour hand to the correct placement based on the minutes, where a lot of clocks will just have it right on the hour and then have the minutes with it. So if it was like 2:30, it'll be halfway between the 2 and the 3, which I think will be beneficial for the kids to know where the clock is, where the hour and minute hands are supposed to be based on the time rather than just right on. It'll be easier to read in the future. And then I would also have the kids have their own clock. This one right here I think is very beneficial because it is 2 paper plates put together, and then you cut the first paper plate so that when the kids go to the hour, they can flip it and they can see the minute that corresponds with the number, so that way when they see 1 on the hour hand and 5 on the minute hand, they know it's 1:20 because they can lift it. They can correspond that in their head, which will help build that relationship with that. And they also still have the hour, which will also be beneficial for reading a clock if you need to know the hour. And then I'll have the students practice, and I'll have them think, pair, share again. With these, I'll ask them how is number 1, and I'll have them go over these clocks. And I will assessing them, seeing how much work they need help with, and if they are understanding what is going on with time. I'll do that with both analog and digital, and I'll practice that way. And now after we go through all of our guided practice, we're going to review some key points. And our points are, what are the 2 hands on the analog clock? And I'll have them, and I'll wait, I'll have them think about it a little bit, and then I'll call on someone, and they will tell me the hour and the minute hand, and then I'll ask them how much the hour is counted by, and I'll be like 1, and minute 5, and then I'll be like, let's review, let's count the minute hands on the Judy clock, I would get it and I would have them go 5, 10, 15, 20, so on and so forth throughout the clock. And then after that, I would also have them, if I had the Judy clock, I would say, we're going to now make 2:30 on this clock. And I'm going to have the hour hand, and you have to tell me when to stop. I would go to move it, and they would say stop when I got to 2. And then I do the same thing with the minute hand, have them stop when I got to the 6, 4:30. And then I would continue on for that and give them an exit ticket. So I want them to write this number. What is the time on this clock? It's 4:25, and I would have them write that on a exit flip for me for analog time, so that therefore I can assess if they are understanding of any miscommunications that I need to address. And then I assign them their homework, and there's a worksheet that has a bunch of analog clock times that they have to write the digital times for, and I would do for that. So for modifications I would do for that is if they had a visual impairment, I would make larger prints. If they did not have as much background knowledge or they were struggling, I would give them a different worksheet that was just based on 30 minutes rather than 5. And if they're understanding it very well, I would do another worksheet that was based on minutes by minute rather than by 5s. And that is how I would teach this lesson.